Hello everyone, welcome to my session. My dear students, this is the third session that I am doing on classes and objects. In the first session, I have discussed the importance of classes and objects and how to define the class and how to declare the class. And also I have discussed what is the meaning of access specifiers and how many types of access specifiers that we have. And also in the second session, I have discussed the important concept, what is data member and how to define the data member. Let's have a quick recap of the previous sessions. Suppose if you have not watched the session 1 and session 2 on classes and objects, please go back to the first session and second session of classes and objects video. Please go back and check, and then please watch this video because it is very important to have the deep knowledge on how to declare a classes and object, and also what is access specifier and how to define the member functions inside the class is what you need to understand, because you need to understand that particular thing. Let's have a quick recap. So let's understand what we did in the first session. My dear students, in the first session, all of you know that. So we have discussed how to declare a class and how to define a class. So all of you know that we have to start with a keyword called class, followed by class name, and then you will have flower bracket. Here you will have public, private, protected, 3 P's. Remember, 3 P's you have: public, private, protected. I will call this as access specifier, and then I will end my class with a closing flower bracket with the semicolon. This is what you need to remember with respect to the first session. In the second session, I have discussed what is data member. Data member in the sense what? I will have the variables, that is what I will call it as a data member. For example, int a. So int a, so this a I will be treating it as a data member. Then what is member function? So member function in the sense a set of statements which is grouped together to perform one task is what I will call it as a member function. What is the syntax of member function is what we have discussed in the previous session. Let's have a quick recap. So first we need to write the return type. First we need to write the return type, and then followed by the return type we need to write the function name and then parameters list. So after that, opening flower bracket, closing flower bracket. This is the general syntax of a function, my dear students. And also we discussed the return types in the sense how many return types we have. We have 2 return types. Number 1 is int and void. Int in the sense it returns the value, void in the sense it does not return the value. This is what we have discussed in last 2 sessions. If you want to watch in detail, please go back to the videos and watch and come back to this video. In this session, we are going to understand what is member functions, again in detail, and different types of member functions. What is member functions? We also call this member function as methods. We also call this member function as methods. My dear students, we have 2 types of member functions. The first one is inside class definition, and the second one is outside class definition. You can ask me, sir, what is this inside class definition and what is this outside class definition? Suppose if you are declaring or if you are defining, suppose if you are defining a member function inside the class, then I will call that as a inside class definition. And suppose if you are defining it outside, then I will call it as a outside class definition. Sir, can you tell me what exactly this inside class and the outside class? Yes, let us have a detailed discussion with respect to that. Imagine I am just creating a class. Suppose if I want to create a class, I have to use a keyword called class, then followed by class name. After that, all of you know that you should have a opening flower bracket. My dear students, at the end of the class, I will be closing with the closing flower bracket with the semicolon. This is what you need to understand. Listen carefully. Whatever I write within this flower bracket, okay, so this is what this area I will call it as a inside the class. This is what I will call it as a inside the class. Suppose if I write after this closing flower bracket and semicolon, that I will call it as a outside the class. That I will call it as a outside the class. So you got the idea. So this is what I will call it as a inside the class. this is what I will call it as a outside the class. Suppose if I define any function inside the class, then I will call that as a inside class definition. Suppose if I define any function outside the class, then I will call it as a outside class definition. So hope you got the fair idea about inside class definition and outside class definition. Moving on to understand this concept in detail. My dear students, we have the first topic, that is inside class definition. So what is that? Sir, the function defined inside the class is also treated as an inline function. This is what you need to understand. So function defined inside a class is also treated as inline function. Sir, what is this inline function? Can you just explain us in detail? Yes, we have the next chapter coming. So in that I will be discussing this inline function in detail with the program. But as of now, you just need to understand, you just need to remember about the inline function. That is, sir, if the function is an inline function, it will take very less time for the execution. I mean to say that the inline function is faster in execution. That is what you need to remember. That is the first point. The second point is only the small functions will be defined inside the class. What is the meaning of it? Suppose if your function is not too complex, if it is not having too much of logic, if it is not having too much of lines of code, then that functions I will call it as a small functions. Such functions I will define inside the class. So remember, so if I have a function inside the class, I will also call it as a inline function, and always the simple functions, small functions with a lesser complexity, I will define it inside the class. You can ask me, sir, is it mandatory that the simple functions should be inside the class? No, it is not like that. You can also define it outside the class. Sir, is it mandatory that the simple functions should be inside the class? No, you can also have the complex functions inside the class. The syntax will not stop you in defining the complex functions inside the class. Moving on to the next point. Let's take a simple program to understand both inside the class definition as well as the outside the class definition. So let us have a quick recap, or let us have a tracing of a program to understand this concept in detail. So all of you know that we have header files. I have taken hash include iostream.h and I have taken hash include conio.h. Followed by that, I am using a keyword called class. Why should I use a keyword called class? Because always my class starts with a keyword called class. Then after that, what is the name of the class that I have? I have the name of the class as item. Remember, I have a keyword, then followed by the class name, that is item. Then after that, I have opening flower bracket and I have two data members. I have two data members. So how many data members I have? I have two data members. The first one is integer data type. The first one is integer data type. So for integer data type, I have the variable name as number. So you need to remember, I have the variable as number of type int. After that, I have one more variable of type float. I have one more variable of type float. My dear students, you need to observe here, I have not specified any access specifier here. Suppose if I don't specify any access specifier, by default the access specifier will be private. By default the access specifier will be private. So my data member, that is int number float cost, will come under the access specifier as private by default. Private in the sense what? So I will be able to access only within the class. That is what you need to remember. Very important point is what you need to understand now. I have the access specifier public. So inside this public access specifier, I have two important things that you need to understand. My dear students, I have already discussed. So what is this void? Void in the sense it is a return type. Then followed by what I have the function name. I have the function name. What is the name of the function? I have the name of the function as get data. Inside this, I have two parameters, that is int a comma float b. How many parameters I have? Int a comma float b. Sir, you did not discuss anything about the parameters. What is the meaning of parameters? Can you just explain us? Let's take an example. Imagine I am cooking now. So if I want to cook I need some ingredients. Let's say I'll prepare a biryani for all of you. So if I want to prepare a biryani, so what are the ingredients that I want? I want rice, I want vegetables, I want masala, I want oil, I want all this different types of ingredients. These ingredients are the parameters for my cooking. These ingredients are the parameters for my cooking. So what is cooking here? Cooking is a function. We are performing one single task. So in the same way, if I want to perform some task, I want some of the parameters. Without that parameters, I will not be able to perform that task. So that is what you need to remember as of now. So how many parameters I have? So I have two parameters, that is int a comma float b. So you need to observe an important point here, guys. Sir, you are saying this is a function, that is get data is a function, but your statement is getting terminated with the semicolon. What is this? What is the meaning of this, sir? If you ask me, my dear students, I am not defining this function here itself. I am just declaring. There is a difference between declare and define. So my dear students, if I end my statement with a semicolon, I am not defining it, I am just declaring it. So that is what you need to remember. I have just declared it. Okay, the second line you need to observe now. So again I have the return type. What is my return type? My return type is void. Void in the sense what? It does not return anything. So followed by the return type, what is that I have? I have the function name. So what is the name of the function here? My name of the function is put data. What is the name of the function? Name of the function is put data. So inside that I have void. Void in the sense I return nothing. So parameter list is empty. Then after that, do I have semicolon here? No. It means to say that I am going to define it now. So how do I define? So I will have the flower brackets. Okay, open. So the inside that I am just using the cout statement. What is that I am doing? So cout number. I am just printing the value of number variable and I am printing the value of cost variable. That is what I am trying to do in the put data. Why am I using this put data function? This put data function is to print the value of number and the cost. Am I being clear? So this is what I will call it as a function. This is what I will call it as a function which is defined inside this class. Which is defined inside this class. Am I being clear? Am I defining this function? Yes. Am I defining this function? Yes. Where am I defining this function? Inside the class. Sir, why do you say that you are defining this function inside the class? Because it is coming before this closing flower bracket. Because it is coming before this closing flower bracket. That's why I will call this as a inside this class. That's why I will call it as a inside the class. Am I being clear? Now, guys, remember I have not defined this function still. Then where do I define it? I will define this function outside the class. I will define this function outside the class. Let us understand what is the syntax to define any function outside the class. So first of all, I should write the return type. First of all, I should write the return type. So what should be my return type? So my dear students, my return type, it can be int or it can be float. So then after that, followed by I should write the name of the class. I should write the name of the class. Then after that, very important, so I have to use two colons. I have to use two colons. So that is what I will call it as a scope resolution operator. That is what I will call it as a scope resolution operator. Then followed by that, sir, I have to write the name of the function. That I will call it as a function name, then parameter list. Function name, then parameter list. Then you will have opening flower bracket and closing flower bracket. This is the general syntax to define any function outside the class. To define any function outside the class. I will repeat the general syntax before I get into the program. My dear students, first I have to write the return type. How many return type as of now we know? We know two return types. One is integer, that is int. Another one is void. Integer in the sense, int in the sense it returns some value. Void in the sense it does not return any value. So that is the first thing that you will write. The second one is class name. Third one is scope resolution operator, and the fourth one is function name is what you need to remember. And the fifth one is statements. Fifth one is statements. So how many points you need to remember? Total 5 points. How many points you need to remember? 5 points. First point. What is the first point that you need to remember? Return type. What is the second point that you need to remember? Class name. So what is the third point that you should remember? Scope resolution operator. What is the fourth one that you should remember? That is the name of the function. That is what I will call it as a function name. The fifth one is statements. Whatever you are writing inside the flower bracket. These 5 points you need to remember with respect to the outside class definition. Let us understand. Let us get into the program now. So guys, if you come across this flower bracket, you will understand that that is the end of the class. Yes or no? Yes. Then now, after the end of the class, that is outside the class, I am writing void. I am writing void. Void in the sense what you already know that. Void in the sense it is a return type. So return type in the sense what? Whether it returns the value or not, it will be indicating. So you are indicating whether it is returning the value or not. So void in the sense it is not returning anything. So after that, I am using the class name. Sir, why should I use the class name is my question now. My dear students, in a single program, I can have multiple classes. I will repeat, in a single program, I can have multiple classes. I should not get, or the compiler should not get, which function belongs to which class. So if I am defining any function, so it should not get confused that, so which function I am defining. Which function I am defining. Sir, what is the meaning of it, sir? Sir, I have told you that I can have multiple classes. In all the classes, I can have the same functions. For example, in this class, I have the function name as getData. I will have one more class that is test1. In that class also, I can have testData or getData. The same name I can have two functions in two different classes, but I am defining it outside. So you should know to which class function you are defining. So to solve this confusion, I am using this class name. To solve this confusion, I am using this class name. So after that, I am using the scope resolution operator, followed by I am using the name of the function which I am going to define. So what is the name of the function that you should define? So getData. This is the function that you are going to define. So I am using this getData. Then followed by I will be giving the parameters. That is what I have, int a and float b. Right? So you understood this parameters list. Then inside that, what is that I'm doing? Sir, whatever the value that I'm getting as a parameter, okay, that is a. The value of a will get assigned to number and the value of b will get assigned to cost. So that is what I'm doing. I'm just taking a simple example. I'm assigning the value of a to the number and I'm assigning the value of b to the cost. That's what I'm doing in this function. So after that, I'll close this function. So that's what I have in the function which I have defined it outside the class. Then after that, I have the main function. I have the main function. All of you know that execution of the program always starts from the main function. Let's look at it, how exactly it works. Sir, here I have the main function. This part I have already explained in the previous slide. So here I have the main function. What is that I have? My dear students, I have the first line as item. Item is what? Please observe. Item is what? Item is my name of the class. So what is that I'm doing here? Item x. Item x in the sense what? So I have already explained in the previous session. If I want to create or if I want to write like this, so what is the meaning of it? I have int. Int is a data type. I'm creating a variable of type int. So I have the variable a. Yes or no? I have the variable a. So I'm creating a variable of type int. The same way, my dear students, I have item. So I'm writing x. What is the meaning of it? Item is a data type. So x is a variable of type item. So you need to understand in terms of classes and objects. If item is a class, class in the sense user defined data type. So I am creating a variable of type item. So x is a variable of type item. So that is what I'm I'm creating. But when I'm discussing the concept called classes and objects, you should not call it as a variable. Instead, you should call it as a object. Can you tell me now what is that I'm doing? So I'm creating a variable of type item. I'm creating a variable of type item. So that is what I have in the first line. What is that I have in the second line? Yes, I have something called clear screen. All of you know that. Clear screen in the sense what? I will erase everything. I will erase everything before I start printing my output in the output screen. That is what I will be doing with the clear screen. This is also a function call. This is also a function call. Then after that, you understood this first line, you understood the second line. What is that I have? X dot get data. What is that I have? X dot get data. X is what? X is a object. This object is calling a function called get data. So what is this get data is doing? So let's have a quick look. What is this get data is doing? Sir, this get data, we are calling this function to assign the value of A and B to the number and cost. We are assigning the value of A and B to the variable number and cost. That is what we are trying to do in this function. Okay, so fine. So for that A and B, guys, you just have to observe here. For this A and B, from where I am getting the value? Sir, for this A and B, from where I am getting the value? Sir, here I am getting the value. So here I am passing the value 10 and 10.5. What is the value of A? My value of A will be 10, and what is the value of B? That is 10.5. You can observe this is of type int, this is of type float. That's why I have declared my parameters type as int and float. Can you just observe this? Int and float. Am I being clear? So fine. So moving on. So I will call this function to assign the values for number and cost. I have assigned it now. So I'm done with the function. Okay. What is the next one that I have? X dot put data. What is X again? X is an object. X is an object. That object is calling a function called put data. What is the meaning of put data? What will happen if I call this put data function? Let's have a look. Guys, put data will print the cost and number. Put data will print the cost and number value. So whatever I have this variable number and cost, that value will be printed in the output screen. Then after that you have get ch. That is the end of the program. That is the end of the program. A quick recap, guys. You have a class, the name of the class is item, and you're trying to define two types of functions, that is inside the class and outside the class. So to declare a function outside the class, you need to remember these 5 things. The first one is return type, the second one is class name, and the third one is scope resolution operator, and the next one is function name followed by the parameter list and then flower bracket open and closed. Syntax to define the, come on, tell me syntax to define the member function outside the class, my dear students. So after that I have the member function inside the class, then followed by I have the main function which will create the objects for me to call the functions whatever I have. My question to all of you is, can I create more than one object? Yes, you can create more than one object. Suppose what is the syntax to create more than one object? Sir, you have written item X, right? So this is the syntax that you have here to create one object. So how do I create multiple objects? It's very simple. Item X, comma, X1, comma, X2, so on. You can create n number of objects. What is this objects? I'm not getting a clear idea, sir. Objects in the sense you are just creating a copy of that class. This X contains one copy of this class item. X1 contains a separate copy of item class. X2 contains a separate copy of the item class. Like this, you can create the multiple copies of the class item, my dear students. Hope you have understood the concept called member function inside the class and member function outside the class. Before ending this session, I will just give you some of the pointers to remember the concepts of member function outside the class. So guys, this is what whatever we have discussed, that they have given in the points. The first thing is the definition member function outside the class must have the link. Okay. The second one, we should use the scope resolution operator. That is what you need to remember. And then scope resolution operator is used to define the member function outside the class. That is very, very important. If you are defining the member function outside the class, you should use the scope resolution operator, and this is the syntax which we have already discussed. My dear students, let's have a quick recap of the points that they have given with respect to the member function outside the class. My dear students, it's very, very important that you should go through all these points which we have already discussed. One is the link that you have to give, and the second one is it's very important to use the scope resolution operator to define a member function outside the class, and they have given the general syntax to create the member function outside the class. Hope you have understood how to create the member functions inside the class and how to create the member functions outside the class. Thank you, everybody.